We are still riding a wave of what was one of the most incredible moments in Newcastle's history and my own lifetime supporting this football club. But now that the dust has settled, what needs to be done moving forward to make sure that this was not just a flash in the pan and a once-in-history thing? Let's talk about why this momentum of this cup win could be massive for this football club and how the next 6 months could shape that. It's coming up, Newcastle fans, so do us a favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black White Banter, ladies and gentlemen. The real Slim Shady is still here. Yes, I know I look like an absolute clip, but you know what? If we keep on winning trophies because I've got to have my hair this colour, then so be it. For anyone who's new to this channel, welcome back to Black White Banter. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a little comment as well to let us know your thoughts. And just for reference, I promised I would do this if we got to Wembley. Do I have any regrets? No. Am I about to produce a new rap album? Potentially. Who knows? I could be the new Eminem. But I'm not here to talk about this awful hairdo. I'm here to talk about what has been the most incredible last couple of weeks for Newcastle United since we have won our first trophy for over 70 years. And I'll keep saying that. Even being around this stadium since it's happened is incredible. But why do I think that that's important in terms of not just being one moment in history that we are still talking about in 20, 30 years? Yes, we'll talk about it because it was the first trophy, but I don't want it to just be the first trophy under this new project, and why the momentum of that one could be really important in getting us moving forward and winning more and more as we bring more success to this club, as every owner and fan has wanted since the takeover happened just over 3 years ago. So let's get into it. Now look, let's call a spade here. If you'd have offered me, when the Saudis bought this football club, if you'd have offered me just over 3 years into the project, 2 cup finals, Champions League football, a 7th place finish last year that should have got us more European football, and a trophy in the cabinet, oh my God, that never gets sick. I never get sick of saying that out loud. We would have all absolutely bit your hand off. All of that in such a short space of time, and all the memories that have come, the wins against Man United, there's just so many individual moments that have been brilliant, that mean more than just things collectively. Like individual memories supporting this team have been class, and how much the city's been transformed. But we want more, and we want this football club to keep growing. And Mr. Al Rumian on the pitch after Wembley, if you haven't seen the recording, he goes as far to say that this is just the first and there are more to come. Music to our ears, but what has history shown and how do we get there? Well, yes, of course, we can look at previous clubs in the Premier League era that have been taken over and what winning a trophy meant for them. Manchester City, the example that comes to mind. There's even links between the owners of both clubs, of course there is. 2008 they were taken over, and the first trophy, the FA Cup, came in 2011, ironically 3 years later. And what followed from them, the rest, as they say, is history. Premier League title upon Premier League title, the Pep Guardiola era, the transformation of Premier League football as we know it, Sergio Aguero, David Silva, Vincent Kompany. But, and I know you're going to say it before I even do, or you're at least going to think it, football has changed dramatically since they were able to spend 50 million on Robinho when they first came in, Aguero, you name it. The rules have changed, the goalposts have been moved, and Newcastle United were never wanted to be taken over to join the big boys in a million years, and the Premier League have done everything in their power to make sure that doesn't happen. But still, we cannot underestimate, regardless of all that, the powers of momentum. Sir Alex Ferguson, yeah, remember him? Esteemed as one of the most successful managers in world football of all time. And my opinions on Man United aside, and I fucking hate Man United. His FA Cup replay final win against Crystal Palace in 1990 is still deemed one of the most defining moments in their success that followed. You, maybe like myself, get sick of the talk of the class of 94. It really bores the hell out of me, the Nevilles, the Scholes, the Beckhams, but they went on that run, but they still look back on that moment fondly. Mr. Phelan, Sir Alex Ferguson's famous right-hand man, had just come into the club at around the time that they won that competition, and he still to this day is quoted as saying, regarding that FA Cup win, certain results at certain times are pivotal to the belief in what you can achieve. And that's a powerful message. And he believed that that FA Cup win made the players believe that their grit and determination can get them anywhere. And not only that, but it opened up the eyes of the rest of teams in English football. And I genuinely look at this Newcastle team, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Anthony Gordon, the likes of Isak, the best striker in the world, certainly one of right now. They are not just here for a flash-in-the-pan cup win. They have tasted what it is like, and they are about to taste it even more when they truly experience the celebrations of this city, hopefully on an open-top bus as I record this, of what they have achieved. But these players only have one career. They know they are good footballers. Even the likes of Lewis Hall and Livramento, who keeps getting better, and Sven Botman, if he's ever back fully fit, are all very good footballers who don't want to settle for one trophy, one Carabao Cup for the rest of their career. They want more. But aside from getting the monkey off our back of getting that first trophy win that we've been griefed for as a football club for years, it is important that we push on. And how do we as a football club make the right decisions to make all of these players even more passionate and more keen to see their careers at Newcastle for at least the next 2 to 3 years? Well, in my opinion, this summer is one of the biggest summers, even more so now that Newcastle have won a trophy in our recent history. Newcastle United have now gone 3 transfer windows without signing what you would call a regular week in, week out first team player. That is absolutely crazy, and to me that highlights the job that Eddie Howe has done to get to this point and win this trophy against one of the best sides in Liverpool at Wembley. Eddie Howe has made mistakes along the way. Eddie Howe has probably been doubted by the boardroom along the way, the same as Alex Ferguson was. They run an awful run when they won that FA Cup, an awful run, and there was doubts whether they would keep him as manager. That happens. Mancini at Manchester City, when they won that first FA Cup, as I referenced, since they were taken over, there was doubts. But Eddie Howe has proven, without signings in transfer windows, he can do it, in every single player, looking at the celebrations in that dressing room at Wembley, backs him. So give him money and give him the tools he needs to push us on further. Interestingly, do you know what Manchester City did after they won that FA Cup that summer? Yes, of course, they were able to spend more money than us, but do you know who they signed back in 2011? A certain Sergio Aguero, who is now one of, if not the greatest ever striker to play for that football club, and he scored the goals that won them league title after league title, after Carabao Cup, after Carabao Cup. They've been to Wembley so many times in that, last 10-year period, they may as well all have their own seat there like a season ticket. And Sergio Aguero was exactly the signing they needed after winning their first trophy to push on, to keep that momentum. And the likes of Isak and Gordon and whatnot are not going to suffice for anything other than more success. And I'm not saying we should be put on a pedestal by players. No player is bigger than this club. But in order for us to keep becoming more and more successful, we need to keep those players, add to them, and keep building and building and building. We're doing it the right way, we're doing it the patient way, and the fact we've managed to get a trophy without spending is fantastic. But this window is arguably, for me, more important than whether we get European football from the remaining fixtures. Europa League and Champions League is still massive, but who we sign and how we do it in the summer is even more massive. I do not for a second blame Paul Mitchell for what happened after he came to our football club. The pursuit of Mark Gay, the little time that Mitchell had to study, to understand, to scour transfer markets around the whole of Europe, if not the world, to bring in the right player that suits an Eddie Howe team. Eddie Howe plays the style of football that Mitchell has historically liked at the clubs he's overseen. He's even overseen what manager has been in charge at football clubs. I've got no doubts them two can work together. But Mitchell, your time is now to push this football club on further, to make sure that trophy was not just a flash in the pan and one moment in history. It was actually the start of a new history for this beautiful football club. And this summer window defines that, in my opinion. Newcastle fans, get down, let us know your thoughts on where you think this football club can go now. Do you think we're still at a point when that trophy was just a flash in the pan? Do you see players exiting, or do you prioritise the remaining fixtures over the window? I'm curious to see your thoughts, because this is a really interesting debate, and one that really has consumed me since we won that beautiful cup down at Wembley and I flooded all the tears. Drop down if you stuck around this long, give us a like, give us a little follow, give us a subscribe. I do work and don't just do this full time. I wish that I did, and the amount of time and research that goes into these videos means your views and your comments go a hell of a long way. Love yous all. See you on the next one. And if you didn't need reminding, Newcastle United are the Carabao Cup winners. Ho you the lads!